So welcome to our goals section. I love this section. Goals are a fabulous part of our life, and they're all about having what we want. The purpose of a goal is what? Most people put it down as a way to go, a direction, a benchmark if you like, something to target. It can be to know how you're doing. It could be to something to focus on, a commitment. It could be getting what you want. The true purpose of a goal, the reason for having a goal, is to become the person that that goal would have you be to achieve it. So if you've got a goal to turn $1 into $1 million, then you need to be a person who can do that. You've got to become that person. If you want to be trim, taut and terrific, then you've got to become the trim, taut and terrific one. If your goal is to have an outstanding relationship, then you've got to become the person that could have an outstanding relationship. So as we go through this session, you want to look into yourself and say, what's working for me, what's not working for me, and particularly, what do I want? What does this goal look like? We may need to get this screen down, Seamus. We might just go through the original part of the goal setting process. Thank you. And in this, if you have this CD, you will also have with you the short, medium, long-term goals practice sheet, and we're going to give you a goal card plus a little card, 5x3, plus examples of writing goals, plus an example of the 1 to 31. So there's a couple of bits you'll need for this process. And if we get this on the screen, this could be a goal to go to a desert island. This could be a goal to have a whole new life. Let's have a little look. Goal setting. What would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? It's the best place to start on a goal. The most important reason people fail in goals is they think they can't do something, and they get in the way. Imagine if you couldn't fail, what would you do? And would it be different if you only had 6 months to live? If you went to the doctor and you got that outcome that you've got 6 months to live, then gee, what would I be doing? It could have been 6 years to live. Would that be different? What if you got the 6 months to live and you started figuring it out and the doctor rang up and said, sorry, we made a mistake. You actually only have 6 weeks to live. Oh. And you got 6 weeks. Would that be different? Then you ring back and said, sorry, we made a mistake. You've actually got 6 days. Only 6 days. Would that be different? And then you ring back straight away and said, you've got 6 hours. Time is ticking by, isn't it? And then you ring back, you've got 6 minutes. We'll take a deep breath in. Deep breath out. So goals are about what I want to do in the time that I've got left, with a view for our long-term plan as well as our medium to short-term. And most of our program on our 1 to 31 cards that you'll see in a minute are based on short-term, 30 days. Our short-term plan is basically anything that's under a year in the 4 90-day plans. Medium-term tends to be 1 year to 5 years, and long-term tends to be beyond 5 years. And there will be some short-term processes that you will go through to achieve your long-term plans, of course. In our program, our intention for our 7-year plan is really the long-term plan, isn't it? And the working backwards each year, right through, down to the first year, and then we break that up into quarters, we break that up into a 30-day plan. What do you really want? Now, this is a very important question, and the word is really want. Not what someone's talked you into or what sounds good or what you might think Roy would like you to say. What do you really want? I know everyone's goal in this program, and those watching this, I know exactly the goal that you want. and it's to be happy. That's what you really want. The question is, how does that manifest itself? Some people choose to be happy through taking drugs. That's their way. And they're using some chemical process to do that. Unfortunately, it's not a very successful technique. It's fairly terminal, actually. And as they go for this happiness, which they're searching outside of themselves because they haven't figured out how to get it inside, and yet they're injecting inside. That's interesting technology. So for you, how does happiness show up? And for everyone it's different. There'll be some who'd be happy just to be able to sit at home and read a book, write some poetry. Others would be happy climbing a mountain. Some are happy being with their children. Some are happy making money. All of us have happinesses in different forms. And what we're trying to do is get some balance in that process. What is it in your life, that burning desire, that childhood dream, that lifelong dream? What is it? Now later in our abundance program we're going to do your mission statement, and we're going to take you back between 7 and 14 in just a little meditation. And you can do it by yourself. You don't need to do our program to do that little part. If you'd be willing to go back and think, well, what did I like when I was 7? What did I love to do? What were my dreams, my desires? When I was 8 and 9, what did I love to do? What was I doing when I was 10, 11, 12? Somewhere by about 13, 14, they start knocking it out of you and you have to start complying. And therefore some people go off in a direction that they don't even want to be, because someone else's opinion has taken them there. All of us need to be on purpose. All of us need to be doing what we love to do. And our mission is what we write for ourselves. And it comes from within. It's what will cause us, give us bliss, give us happiness. And it's an interesting question. And if you put with that, if you couldn't fail, what would it look like? Because you know that story, this is not a dress rehearsal, this is actually it, this is life. And it's amazing how quickly we go through it and burn it up. Then make sure that this is your goal, not someone else's. Believe. 3 steps for prosperity in all areas of your life, from doing our page 39. 1, you build the image. 2, you turn it over to Spirit, let go on it God. And 3, you expect with all your heart and soul that Spirit will reward you openly for your faith. If you don't build the image, then there's nothing to go for. That's what a goal is. It's an image that you hold in your mind. An ideal, if you like. An ideal, which is an idea that you've fallen in love with. You know that you can't do it alone, as much as you might think so. So you turn it over to the greatest power in the universe. And you have an expectation with all your heart and soul that Spirit will reward you openly for your faith. And the reason we use the word faith there, because it's the inverse of fear. If you believe in the fear stronger than you believe in the faith, then the fear will win. If you believe that cancer has a greater power in your body, then you will die. If you believe that faith is stronger than the fear, then you may well live. Being in state, and state just means focus. Being committed, making an absolute decision to have this, and obviously having a strategy. All of these will show up when you show up. When you show up, the universe shows up, and so does your wealth. The universe is always waiting for you to show up. It's like coming to the gym. When you show up at the gym, the universe shows up with everything you need, and you walk away with your health. You can't get to that without getting to that, so you've got to show up. Okay, so with our belief, there's something else. This is just missing a bit here. The most important thing to do in goals is to write it down. Writing your goal down in clear detail will set them in concrete. A goal that's not written is just a foggy generalization of some idea that you might have, perhaps a fantasy, perhaps even a dream. It starts with a fantasy, it starts with a dream, it becomes a goal when it's written. Who's following this conversation with me somehow? Good. I interview a lot of people for roles with us, for different clients who come. I remember a young boy came to me and he said to me, I really want to be successful and I've really been working on this for a long time. I said, oh, that's great. And I just thought I'd like, if one of you'd mentor me. I said, of course. I'd love to do that. That's what I do. I've got lots of dreams and goals and stuff. I said, good. I said, show me your goals. And he said, I don't have them here. I said, what, are they at home? He said, no, they're in my head. I said, so you haven't got them written down? He said, no. I said, I reckon I could tell where you are financially within about $1,000. And I told him, and he said, how did you know? I said, if you don't have any written goals, then you're usually lost. You'll just bump into whatever the next thing is happening for you. So to write them down is very important. I have people come to this program, it's the first time they've ever written a goal down or had a system to support them over 30 days for the rest of their life. In fact, every month you get a new card to continue with this process. It was the first time they ever did that. There are others who wrote them down once and lost the piece of paper, or they do the traditional 95% thing called your New Year's resolutions. Do you know that 75% of all New Year's resolutions are broken within the first week? 75%. Of course, this wouldn't apply to you. I'm talking about other people. And one of the reasons that they're broken so quickly is there's no system to support you. You have great intention and even motivation. And yet you don't have anything to support you to actually put that intention into action. I was talking to Faisal this afternoon. He said something brilliant, as he often does. He just passes these little points along. He says, a great difference between intention and motivation. He said, motivation tends to come from the outside, and I really get that it tends to be some outside force, where intention comes from the inside. Can you handle that, Penny, for us? Just have a little talk to them. So, that distinction that he showed me, I thought, gee, that is so clever. Faisal's a very clever man. Intention being internal, from you, intention from your inside as a guide. At the gym that I go to, at Fitness First up at Robina, I noticed the big wall that they had there. I think it was Robina or somewhere. I think it was Robina. Can't remember now. Yeah, it is Robina. Big wall, huge wall, bigger than this wall. Great big words written across there. It said, motivation got you here. I'm reading that and thinking, yeah, that's right. Habit will keep you coming. It's very clever. In other words, you get all excited about going to the gym, we get motivated to do that, an external thing. But when you get to habit's more internalized, isn't it? It's who you are. You become this. And when you have a habit to go to the gym, then that's the way you are. It's your intention. It's the way you are going to live your life. So what we want to do is create some habits, and we do these by SMARTIES. And SMARTIES, for those who are wondering how do we do SMARTIES, is specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, tangible, inspirational, leading to, emotional, leading to success. Now, you don't have to write this down. We'll be giving you a sheet on it anyway, and it'll come with this pack if you're watching this video. With this, to get a goal to be specific means it's clear. You know, the optometrist has a vision, but he gets you to focus and have clarity. Measurable, you must be able to measure it. And attainable and realistic, it's as far as you're concerned. it might not be attainable and realistic for someone else. If you're a marathon runner, you're going to do this in such and such a time. That might be attainable and realistic as far as you're concerned, but it might not be for a lot of other people. So whatever's will stretch you and take you to that. Inspirational just connects you with motion, because we know that emotion will create motion, and we know that emotion is the thing that's going to really get you excited. So when you're doing your goals, you want to get passionate about them, because they are you. They're your wants, your desires. That word desire is a wonderful thing. And this word tangible, this is an important word. It's very hard to have an intangible goal. A lot of people set goals that are intangible and they can't work out why they're not getting the goal. Like they'll say they want to be a good father. That's an intangible goal. Do you understand the difference? Intangible goal is I want this car or this piece of furniture, this house. These are very tangible things. To be something is intangible. And unless you can convert this for the mind, it doesn't understand it. It's like a Mac trying to talk to a Microsoft processor in the old days. It doesn't understand what you mean. 100 trillion cells are trying to figure out what this is all about. You're giving the input. So if a good father shows up to you, like I used to take my children to the Centennial Park, and we used to feed the ducks, because they just love doing that, and they just liked riding their bikes, and that was part of me being a good father, because I love to share that with them. And so making the goal that way, I did whatever it was that I felt was the thing. Like I used to pick them up on a Wednesday. Wednesday was my time with my kids. I took Wednesdays off. The purpose of having a business is that you can do what you want when you want. Is that right? Some people think that. Some people work harder. I believe the reason for the business is to give you more life, not to give your life to the business. And I also believe that therefore you should be able to arrange your time to suit, and one of those things was to spend time with my children. So I used to pick them up from school, and I'd wait outside. I'd see them come running down, Dad, Dad, Dad. Then we'd go to whatever they wanted to do. This was their time. And that was part of my goals program. I didn't write down to be a good dad. I wrote down be there outside 3 o'clock Wednesday every week to spend time with my kids. Making our goals inspirational and emotional, making them in inspiration, making them of service, making them as a contribution. And all of this leads to success. So if you're not getting your goals succeeding, I'm going to suggest there could be something wrong with this. Does this make sense to everyone? Good, good. This is all taught at school. It's all taught by your father and mother, of course, and they're all multimillionaires. Good news is, never too late to have a good childhood, never too late to get started, never too late to set the goals. Don't waste 1 second criticising what you did or didn't do. You're under new management, draw a line in the sand, start from now. When should you start your goals program? Now. Why? Why is most important? Ask yourself why you want it. Intensify your reason why is more important than the goal. The bigger the reason, the greater the opportunity for this goal happening for you. When you stake your life on it, you'll get the goal. Success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. It's the best definition I've ever had for success. And I learnt it back when I first listened to The Strangest Secret in the World by Earl Nightingale. Success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. As you'll notice, it's a progressive realization. Success is in this sense, the goal part of that is it's a journey, it's not a destination, and you enjoy the journey. Success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. And as I've said, an ideal is an idea that you've fallen in love with, and the worthiness is that the ideal must be worthy of you. You don't have to be worthy of the ideal. You already are. You're a spiritual being. Living in a physical body, having a human experience is intelligent. If you thought of the goal, then it's worthy of you. And it must be always worthy of you. and it's your choice. The goals can change. The reasons why will stay the same. The why is the most powerful thing. The way you get there, the strategies you use, the various things can change. Being a good father, being a good mum, being a lover, being a carer, being a success in whatever the thing you want to be successful in. Whatever the driver is, the why, that will always remain there. To be of contribution will remain there. The strategy that you use could change, even the goals. You set the goalpost, you can change the goalposts. They're your goals. As we discussed the other day, it doesn't matter which way the wind blows. The boat can move forward. If the wind's blowing behind you, across from you, either side, or even at you, you can set your own sails and move forward. You just need a different strategy. List the reasons intensify your belief, your faith and conviction that it is possible. Now, you might think this is very anal, very analytical. Yep, to some degree it is, because we've got to get some enrolment here. However, the emotion of the why will be more powerful. But the more we enroll all the senses, and that's why we use visual with goals written, why we use kinesthetic with the actual written word, and why we do auditory when we hear it back, is so powerful. And to be able to record your goals on an MP3, MP4 player and listen to them to a voice you can trust is a very powerful technique, particularly when you do your 7-year plan on the same year, page 30. When you're going for a walk each morning and have it played to you, this is automatic success. And the good thing is you can always re-record your goals. It would take someone serious to do that, someone serious in their life, someone who really wants this, and it would take someone non-serious to even disregard what I just said. Can you see how you'd have to get out of your own way? You'd have to step up, you'd have to set a new standard, you would have to defy the odds. You'd have to be different. 95% of the population do not write goals down consistently. In fact, over 60% have never written one down in their entire life. So you know where you stand on that. We'll take a nice deep breath in. Deep breath out. Interesting thing, how much effort is there in writing a goal out, do you think? Like all things, it's almost effortless. There's nothing to do, there's just action to take. All success is action. Precise action at the right time, as is leverage. The right amount of leverage, the right place at the right time. Goal writing is a leveraged exercise. All we've got to do is get you out of the way. Look at this little guy. That's a good reason. If you make the reason someone else other than you, it's amazing what you can achieve. There's a very beautiful book written on being a successful parent, and it was written by a couple of psychs. It was a long book and went on, and they if you want to write it down, they summarised it in three steps. Great big thick book, and it was summarised with 3 steps. And the first step was, number 1, be a great example. That was the first step. It sounds good. Be an example, be the best example you could be. Number 2, be a great example. Number 3, be a great example. That was the entire book. 3 steps. So, set a deadline. Goals need to be a deadline, need to pick a date, and you'll notice, and a time. This is your life, this is your intention, you put it out there, you do what you need to do, and only you can set this. And all you do is, in attainable, realistic terms, what is that for you, so you can measure it. Today we're going to give you some examples of some of the things you can do in relation to that. For instance, if you have a health goal, I'll do this in a minute, how we set deadlines, but times are great. If you set a date for something and then put that makes it fairly important. If you put a time with it, it gets serious, very serious. 100 trillion cells are trying to work on this and say, I think he's serious about this. Yeah, I think he is. They have a little conversation. Set a deadline for major goals. For example, a 12-month goal and 12 mini little deadlines, one each month. And then set one for each week. Establish a reward schedule when you've achieved the mini goal and reward yourself with a cup of coffee or a dinner or a social with friends or have some fun. Whatever it is, you could do that. Whatever it is, reward yourself. Set yourself up for success here. Identifying the obstacles. What's the main obstacle? What is the number one obstacle in your way of your success? There you go. You got it. You guys are clever. You lead, follow, or get out of the way. Identify and list the obstacles in the way of your goal, and be grateful, and ensure they ensure success at the other end. Now, what is it that could be in the way? And really, you're just looking for the traps, the things that have it not work for you. For instance, if you know you shouldn't be eating the Tim Tams, why did you buy them? When you go to the fridge and you open it, oh, look at this, there's some Tim Tams here. It's like a surprise, isn't it? Wonder how they got there. It's like people pushing their trolley. You can see what's going on in the trolley. And they've got a bottle of Coke as big as your head. That's a hint that's going to go inside. And they get a surprise that it's there. When there's a huge, big difference from a magistrate or a judge when the murder was premeditated. There's the spontaneous murders that happen just over passion. Well, the Tim Tams were premeditated. They were. But sometimes people just walking along, not minding anything, they're just walking by Darryl Lee or something, and these chocolates attack them. Just walking along, wouldn't even go in the shop. And they get home and, oh, look at this. Oh, well, we can't waste them now, can we? We've got to eat them. Humans are really, and you might be able to relate this, fairly easily programmed. You'll see a person going to dinner, and it's a lovely dinner, lovely place, and so they look at the entree and they look at the main menu and stuff, and they think, well, those entrees look beautiful. I won't have the dessert. I'll just have the. Then they bring the dessert. They bring the entree, and the entree's magnificent. Like it's just. And after you've eaten that, you're full. But of course, you've already ordered the meal, and it was an expensive meal, so you're going to eat this, aren't you? Because you've paid for it, and you are going to pay for it. So when it comes, you work your way through that. And then they bring the trolley with the dessert. And you know how it is, you can always fit the dessert in? You know how there's always appears to be room, even if you explode. You can relate to this in any way, I'm just curious. Yep. So all of this is a bit of a plan, and it's called consciousness, and it's called there are consequences for everything, and to stay as the captain as opposed to the passenger. And the idea is to have a wonderful life and have everything in balance and harmony, and have these fun things and have these desserts and do it. Sometimes you should start with the dessert. That would probably help things along. Okay. Visualization is part of a process that we do, and in our 9 Keys program we have some visualization processes, and certainly in the Abundance program, creating a clear mental picture of the goal that you desire, and then imagine the result as already being realized. When the mind can see the future as you want it and get enrolled with that, that's when you're sucked into that future. When it appears the universe conspires with you to deliver your outcome. So visualizations are very, very powerful, and most of us kind of understand that, and yet we're in our busy life and don't take the time out. The truth is we think in pictures, and we think all the time in pictures, and we're visualizing all the time. The unfortunate thing is that most of the time when we're visualizing, we're not consciously doing it. And we visualize things that we perhaps shouldn't be visualizing. And we get into a habit of visualizing things that don't serve us, particularly negative things. Whereas this process is a conscious visualization of what you want, what you truly want in your sane mind, in your sanity. A drug addict, a person watching pornographic material, a person, a gambler, a person who's drinking, a person who's doing whatever they're doing that maybe doesn't serve them, and I'm not criticizing anyone who does whatever they do. This is a visualization. And it's got deeper and deeper and deeper into that. There's a point where in consciousness you could say, I'm going to visualize something different. And the best way to change one direction is replace it with another. If you want to stop something, replace it, rather than just do that. Replace it with something better, something that leads you in your direction. The most important thing I do in my goals when I get up each morning, or when I'm doing anything, I ask this one question: is what I'm doing now leading me towards my goals? If the answer is yes, I continue the process. If the answer is no, it's best to stop this process. If you want to be a man that's a good family man, and a good husband, and good lover, good father, and you're at work and the boys say, do you want to come to the pub with us? You know, the pub mafia could get you at this point. It's probably a good decision to go into the consequences of that and say, well, actually, I really appreciate that, but I really want to be with my family tonight. That's where I need to be tonight. That's where I really would like to be. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't go out with the boys sometimes, or the girls, or whatever. It's a question, where would you like to be? What is your life about? What do you really want to do with the rest of it in consciousness? And it also says, really, what are the consequences of all these decisions, as well as the goals that you set? So when you set those up to have you be the way you want to be, your life will show up accordingly. So in our goals card, what we're going to do is actually get you to write in your consciousness what it is you would like to have. And the visualization really is just another technique to bring it to pass. Play it over and over again on the screen of your mind until you can see it in perfect clarity. Everything you've ever achieved, you've done that. You've played it over and over and over again to see it in perfect clarity. And think about that mental picture and impress it into your subconscious. I'll tell you a story about a visualization that I had. I was driving through Mossman one time in Sydney. I don't normally take this particular route. I was going to see someone. And I drove along, and I don't know if it's ever happened to you, but sometimes you see something, like this was a house, and I went, wow. You know, I was moving along pretty fast. And I pulled up, thought, you know, it's just got me, this house. And I backed up. And I look at this house, and that is a house. My goodness, I've never seen a house like this, ever. Big house, big block of land. And I was in a hurry, but I just couldn't stop looking at this house. It was like, turned the engine off, got out of the car, went in. I don't know what got me. I have no idea where I was still walking. I said, what am I going to say to these people? Knocking on the door. Took a while. Someone came down. Hi. I said, look, sorry to bother you. I just saw this house. I just never seen a house like this. Is this house for sale? He said, no, and he's trying to shut the door. I said, well, if you ever sell it. He said, yeah. And I couldn't get another word in, and he just shut the door. A lot of people come by, he said. Shut the door. So I kind of walk back, look at this house. Beautiful house. And as I'm walking away, I'm sort of getting in the car and looking at it, I'm going to own that house. I'm going to get that house. That's a beautiful house. So I'm driving, I couldn't get it out of my mind, this house. 3 months later I'm driving by, there's that house again. Get out of the car, go and knock on the door. So I was sort of rehearsing, because I knew he was going to say, knock on the door. I was around the other 3 months ago, I just, I said, I asked you if the house was for sale. He said, it's not for sale. I said, I know it's not for sale yet. It could be for sale. He says, not for sale. I said, well, one day it might be. He said, we get a lot of people knocking on this door. I said, well, one day you might sell it. He said, we're not selling it. I said, well, one day if you did, would you sell it to me? He said, whatever. I said, well, I might pop back. Whatever, and shut the door. Look in the house. Took a photograph of the house. Get in the car. It was about 3 months, 6 months, 4 months, I forget, gone by, knock on the door. Just checking how the house is doing. You again? Yep. You're persistent, aren't you? I said, well, you know, he said, you want to have a look in, don't you? You want to look in this house? I said, yep. He said, if I show you, will you go away? I said, absolutely. Real quick, did you promise you'll go away? I said, yep, good. So I go through. I'm looking at this house. This house is like 14-foot ceilings, you know, big, solid cedar doors, just complete timber. Architraves this big, you know, like fireplaces every room. Formal dining room, informal dining room, guest rooms, this room, little balcony, little staircase going up here. Secret passages he's showing me. You know, big rooms like, you know, you'd put a house in the main bedroom. You know, like my first bachelor pad would have fitted in there completely. He told me a story that the man who owned this house owned all the land from the top of the ridge at Mossman, because we could see Sydney Harbour Bridge, that he probably rode his horse down to the wharf down to Neutral Bay. He was a doctor, he had 8 children. Rooms from them all. And I looked at the house, and I wasn't very happy with my house. It wasn't being looked after properly, but I didn't say anything. You know, I just sort of, he's just minding it. Actually, the kitchen needed some work and stuff. Showed me about the secret well. Had an old rundown tennis court and stuff like that. And said, yeah, nice house. Kept looking at his watch all the time, and he'd obviously done this tour many times. And I'm visualising it all, me there, coming up the stairs, standing at the top. I said goodbye, thanked him so much. Went 6 months later. You? Yep. Just checking if the house is for sale. It's not for sale. Yeah, no, just checking. He said, your name's Roy McDonald. I said, yep. He said, you told me that when you came last. I said, yep. He said, I've got some mail here for you. Why have I got some of your mail here at my house? I said, well, just little Reader's Digest stuff, and you know, those things you can't ever stop. Or those sort of art union things, you know, they keep sending stuff. So he gives me my mail. I said, I just want the postman to know that eventually I'm going to be here. He's looking at me very strange. So I go. 6 months later, knock on the door. He answered the door, gives me my mail. Is the house for sale? He said, no. Just checking. By this time I got photographs of me, you know, outside the house, you know, talking to him about the roof and how's it going and things, you know. 6 months later, roughly, this is like 2 years now. Go by, knock on the door. You? He said, yep, here's my mail, thank you, sir, mail. House for sale? He says, as a matter of fact, it is. I said, I'd like to buy it. He said, we thought you would. This house has triple external brick walls, double internal, on an acre in Mossman. 1 acre. The largest single piece of land that was available, unsubdivided. And this was 1976, and I paid $174,000 for this house, which was a lot of money then. I subsequently sold that and subdivided it, put 2 other houses after living in it for many, many, many years, about 20 years or something. It's worth about $7.5 million by the time I did the transaction. A pre-capital gains taxed asset, and of course my principal place of residence. And I received over $750,000 worth of tax deductions for this house whilst I did what I did with this house, including putting 2 tennis courts on it and lights, and rented it as a business eventually from there. Now I'm telling you this story because it's a visualization, it's about intention, it's about what you want. And I'm saying to you, whether it's a house or something, that there is a house out there with your name on it, and you just got to get your mail sent there. And having the courage to take a stand for what you want. The way a goal system works, visualization is very powerful. Making a plan is equally as powerful after you do the visualization. Make the plan over and over again. Become a successful planner. Plan your activities. Identify what you need to engage in to achieve your goal. So there's some steps, if you will. And we do this on special cards. Organise your list in terms of your priorities and time. And take action and get going on your plan and continually reviewing your plan. In other words, the plan needs to be reviewed. Never give up on your goals, change your strategy, keep your plan active. If you're not receiving or getting the goal that you want, you just aren't using the right strategy. You're a very powerful human, and more importantly, you are a spiritual being, and spirit knows no lack or limitation. Only humans experience fear and lack and limitation. You need an action plan. All right, so let's just have a look at what we've got here in terms of our plan. And what we want to do, or this is our goals, what we want to do is, what is it that we want? And we've got a little sheet here which has got short, medium and long-term goals. Now, there's 3 spaces in each one of these little areas. And it's not that you have to write down one short, one medium, one long. In fact, a lot of them will be short-term, but there'll be some that will come up as long-term goals. Put your name, put your date when you wrote this sheet. In fact, if you got this as a home study course, I'd photostat this so you can upgrade it from time to time. And then write your best health goal in. It doesn't have to be in order, and there's 3 opportunities there. Write, and you can all start writing this now. Goals for your family, goals for your career and business, goals for your financial, goals for intellectuals, goals for spiritual, goals for social, and goals for other. Now, health goals would be things like, you know, that you want to weigh a certain amount, you want to be a certain thickness around your tummy, or better still, an action plan to go to the gym 3 times a week or whatever. Whatever the goal is for you that you think's appropriate for you, and have it that would support your outcome. I'll go into a health goal in a minute in some detail. A family goal would be a goal such as being with your family, being with your children, having a holiday with them. You know, whatever shows up for you is the way you'd like your family to be closer, to communicate. Now, unfortunately, you've got to make it, you can write it as a practice sheet here, but eventually we're going to turn these into tangible goals. A goal as a better communicator is not a goal. So you need to have quality time with your partner, you know, on such and such a time, so many times a week or once a week or whatever it is. Career and business goals and financial goals. There's 2 differences there. Business career goals are goals for how you want your business to go, how you want your work to go, what you want to achieve. You want to be a supervisor by such and such a time, or you want to have this skill or that skill or achieve this qualification. And similar with financial. You want to achieve a certain outcome financially. Intellectual could be to read books or learn to use your computer or do something that would stretch you to some degree. Spiritual goals we discussed on our 7-year plan could be things of going to church, or it could be meditation, or it could be contribution, or it could be all of the same. Social goals, being with your friends, being with your family, being perhaps more social. There are people here that would have to curb that because they're so social, and there's others who have been antisocial. But that could include going to a dance with your partner that you haven't done for so long, or learning dancing. And others that some space. And down the bottom of this goal sheet is to love all, need nothing, serve all, speak the truth, honour your integrity, and give unconditional love, or give love unconditionally. Now, these can be goals too. And if you put this up on your sheet, and Brian, can you handle that outside there just for them so that that's clear? These particular focuses are all, the whole thing of a goal card, the whole thing of a goal sheet is to bring to consciousness what you want and how you want to spend your life. That's the purpose of it, to become what you need to become and then to have this. It's effortless, and yet it takes some action. So I'd like you to start filling those in, and while you are, I'm going to talk a bit about some of the goals, and some of you could listen to this. We're going to give you a copy of this anyway, so take it as you see. There could be someone here that would have a health goal. For instance, could have a weight goal. And I work with people all the time, and I use this machine, this goal card, as the simplest way to help them become who they need to become. And I often will pick someone here, or they'll pick me to do it, but I'm just going to talk about one that I just did the other day or other week with someone, and they were, when they weighed themselves, were I'm going to put a dollar sign down. Can't help myself. They were 102 kilos, and they wrote their goal down to say, I want to lose some weight. Was their goal. I want to lose some weight. Now, just to explain how this works, 100 trillion cells don't know what that is, and it's garbage in, garbage out. When you say to your mind, your body, just say, I want to lose some weight, they're all saying, well, what's he want? I don't know. He wants to lose some weight. So lose it? When are we going to lose it? Oh, I think he wants to move it from his cheeks to his bum. Oh, okay. Oh. There was a woman once who wrote a goal out for herself. She actually wrote this down. That's how clever she was. She said, I've got to lose, it was 25 pounds, 25-pound American lady. And I've got to do this quickly. I've got to get rid of this. 25 pound, I'm sick of this. She had a car accident the next week, and they amputated a leg, and they weighed her leg. It was 25 pounds. You get what you ask for, so you be very careful how you ask. We'll take a deep breath in. Let's breathe that out. So you want to focus exactly on how you want to get this done. So the way I would look at this, firstly, see a doctor is very good if you're 102 kilos or more, and your body's under stress right now. There'll be all sorts of things going on. I suggested to this person, after they got cleaned up a little bit, that 2 kilos a month loss is a kind of an okay thing. I have a vision of going and having a shower and you lose weight down the plug hole, like about 20 cents every time you have a shower. And 2 kilos in a month is very simple. So I asked the person what did they want to be. It was a man, he said, I want to be 80 kilos. I said, good. So obviously that's 22 kilos loss. I said, yep. So it's going to take us, at 2 kilos a month, it's going to take us 11 months. Is everyone okay with the math here? We're going to do this with ease and grace. There is no effort involved, none. It's effortless. So the goal on this one, he weighed himself and he was 102. So in 1 month he would be 100. In another month he'd be 98. In another month he'd be 96. Everyone understand? So his goal was, I'm so happy, I'm 100 kilos of succulent, sexy man with energy and vitality. on, and then you just choose 1 month from now at 7 a.m. You do not weigh yourself, you don't do anything, you just read this goal card every day. I can guarantee you do that, you step on that scale, you'll be 100 kilos if that's what you want it to be. Trust me, do this effortlessly. There is nothing else to do. As long as you read it at least once a day, I prefer you do it twice, because 100 trillion cells will deal with this. There's a thing about congruency in our life. If we say one thing and not do it, we get incongruent. If we say something twice a day, like reading a goal card, this is what I am, our mind, body comes together and we get congruent. We can't keep saying and doing and being further and further apart. If you do, you've actually got three choices. One, you'll either do it. If you don't do it, you'll throw the goal card away because it's too painful, or eventually you'll commit suicide. Because you can't be that incongruent. You can't be saying this and doing this and saying this, and you feel so bad. So it is the congruency that actually brings you together. In fact, it's the feeling bad, the guilt that people experience because they want something but aren't achieving it. And most of them don't know it in consciousness, but they're wishing for one thing and praying for something else. They're wishing this but praying that, wishing this, praying that, wishing this. In other words, what they're thinking is not congruent with what they want. And they're not even conscious to it. Now, the other thing about this that's important is that you'll notice what I said. I never mentioned the word weight. I said, I'm so happy. I'm 100 kilos of succulent, sexy, vibrant man. I didn't say I weighed that much. People actually write a goal card, I want to lose weight. What the 100 trillion cells do is they can't hear the word lose. They actually don't know what to do with that because it's intangible, but they hear the word weight. And they go, oh, he wants some weight. Oh, she wants some weight. Oh, we'll give her some of that. That's easy. I want you to just close your eyes for a second. If you're driving the car, don't do this, but you can do it with your eyes open if you wish. But you're just here right now. Close your eyes just for a second and don't think about a white rabbit. Don't see a white rabbit hopping around with a pink tail. Whatever you do, don't see a white rabbit under any circumstance. Don't see it hopping about the place. Just come back to us now. Can you all see the white rabbit? And the reason you can't stop is because I keep saying the part of the don't you don't hear. People speak in interesting things. Goals are all about communication to yourself, and you are your communication. You see a person at a checkout, and you'll thank them, or anywhere, and they'll go, "No problem," or "No worries." Your mind actually doesn't hear the no, it just hears, "You're a problem, you're a worry." In fact, that's how they think. They don't mean to say that. And when Faisal said yesterday, or the day before, the last thing that I wanted to do. If someone ever says to you, the last thing I ever wanted to do was hurt you, that was the last thing I ever wanted to do. The last thing I ever wanted to do was hurt you. So the last thing that I wanted to do was to hurt you. And it was the last thing that I did. Did they mean to say that? They didn't mean to say that at all. But when they say that, 100 trillion cells doesn't know the difference between that communication. You are your communication. So goals gives us a chance to write it clearly. What it is we're trying to communicate here. And so your first sheet, when you write it down, is a practice sheet to get it into something that will communicate clearly what you want. So what we're really writing in our goal card is not what we don't want. We want to write what we want. And we want to write it in today, in present tense, as if it's already happened. We want to write it not in the future. Today, we are this. Another goal that you may want to get clear, and I'd strongly recommend you put it in one of the sections if you can't think of anywhere else, either in intellectual or others, is write a goal for yourself about your personal growth and personal development. You are your greatest asset and you need to invest in yourself. And the goal could be, I am my greatest asset and I'm so happy that I invest in myself. 10%, I actually have a goal, 10% of all I earn I invest in myself. Are you worthy of 10%? Of course. And when we work on the ultimate 40-40-10-10 plan, where 40% of your income is paying for everything because you've got such a strong income, and 40% is reinvested to grow more, and 10% you give away and 10% for fun, part of that reinvestment, 40%, is about you. It'll reproduce income again and again and again. It'll reproduce your life again and again and again. It's like investing in yourself into the gym, investing in yourself to get a spa or a facial, to get a massage, to get a haircut. These are all things you're investing in you. Even your clothes are an investment, to invest in the best you can be. And another tip that I would suggest to you is that people in their goals often create an image of themselves. You'll see people, they'll go to the bathroom, before they have a shower or bath, they'll take off their clothes just to be, and then they'll look in the mirror, and they'll give the big look, and and they'll look at this, and this is a really interesting image. You know why the gym have mirrors? To pump, like you're all pumped up and you're building an image. I reckon you could actually get pictures from the mirrors. But as you get pumped up and you go, you're building, the 100 trillion cells are working on this. We had a lady, she got a full life-size photograph of Elle Macpherson, cut the head out, put it on the mirror. It's building a really big image there, let me tell you that. She said it was amazing how things started toning up and she became very curvaceous. So what am I saying? I'm saying is that this image part, this way you write things, the way you communicate what goals are, but you've got to get serious about what it is you want, and so they're a combination. And what we have in this program, I think one of the most powerful things you can ever do is we convert that written work into a card. So that becomes a practice sheet, and then we get a card. So I want you to hand these cards out for us, Alberta. These are called 1 to 31 cards. And the reason they're called 1 to 31 is that there's 1 to 31 days in a month. Now some months have 30 and there is one month that has 28 sometimes. But normally, we have somewhere between 1 to 30 to 31. And the idea of this card is to really get you to focus on what you're up to. And you can put it in your pocket or you can have it in your purse. I'm recommending that you look at this a couple of times a day, at least. And if you want to know where it is, in my case, I always put it on my toilet, and because that's one place I go in my little private room, and I read my card there. But you can put it under your pillow, you can put it anywhere that you can have it. So this card, right now I'd be recommending you put your name on it and put this month's date on that. That's the month and the year, because it's good to keep them, and you'll see the progress you've made with your card. And you'll notice underneath the month there's a written thing, and you may want to read with me. 1, 2, 3. Starts with if. 1, 2, 3. If you're not making the progress you would like and are capable of making, it's simply because your goals are not clearly defined. And Paul J. Meyer wrote that, and it's one of the most beautiful quotes on goals I've seen. And just check in if that's true for you. And there is that little SMARTIES to remind you. And down the bottom, 1, 2, 3, success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. As I said, it is a process. So it's not a destination, it's a journey. And the realization is the manifestation of that. And the ideal is an idea of falling in love with, and it must be worthy of you. If you go to the back of this card, there's a very handsome man on the back. One of the best kept secrets of total success, 1, 2, 3, the reason so many individuals fail to achieve their goals in life is that they never set them in the first place. That they never really set them in the first place. Dennis Waitley wrote that. And this is our mission statement. Mission to make a positive financial difference to our clients over the medium to long term and help bring balance to their life. And on the back here, there's my long-term goals are. So there's a little section there that's kind of one of those ones you can read any time. And there's some of our connective details there. If you open up the card though, you'll see the little smiley face. And I put that in there just to make sure you're happy. And always smile when you see the smiley face. And note, use your 1 to 31 cards to develop success habits. Remember balance in your life. Health, family, financial, business, career, intellectual, social and spiritual. It's exactly the same as your practice sheet was, and there it is written on the card. And here's the instruction, and in fact the only instructions. List your goals in the first person present tense in the space provided, then tick the box each day when you've read them. Very simple instruction, yes? It's called turning up in consciousness. And there is my number one goal in the next 31 days is I'm so happy I am or have. And this is the goal. I am 100 kilos of succulent, sexy man, full of energy and vitality. I live my life with joy and happiness. And then that would be, if that person, that was their number one goal. And you'll notice that it's been written as if it's happened. And you read that goal twice a day. And I'll guarantee if you step on that scale in 30 days, you will have lost that 2 kilos. I had a lady, she said, this is really working. Every time I shower I can see, there's 20 cents going down there. I'm having 3 showers a day. She got so excited about it. She thought it had something to do with the showers. And then I've achieved this, and you'll see the date and the time there, and there's an AM and PM. Now, in the little yellow there's a little story there. It's a sneaky little goal we put in there. I read my 1 to 31 goal card each day, and all my goals are SMARTIES. Wonder why I wrote that in there as a standard. This is called the affirmation for an affirmation. You know the story about the man who walking along the beach and found the Aladdin's lamp, and he rubbed it to shine it up, and then the Aladdin comes out. Master, you have 3 magic wishes. That one story, the old fable. And then he makes a mistake and says Tin Tams or something. The first wish you should always make is 1,000 wishes. That's the first wish, 1,000 wishes. And this is the same as this. This is a goal. I read my 1 to 31 goal card each day, and all my goals are SMARTIES. Can you get the idea here? You're making 1,000 wishes, 1,000,000 wishes, 1,000,000,000 wishes with this, as it's endless. Who's seen The Secret? And I'd recommend you see it again, because it's one of those things you need to see about 10 times. Your wish is my command. And remember he talks about that, your wish is my command. And the big genie's there. And he said there was never 3 wishes. There was always many wishes. And of course this is consciousness. And this is talking to consciousness. This is talking to the divine. This is talking to grace. This is talking to universal consciousness. Whatever you have this as. It's not a spiritual discussion. This is just what is. And there, with a very fine pen, you'd write in your health goal that you've converted into a SMARTIES goal, and you'd write that into those lines that are there, and family, and so you'd go on right through. And as you can see the little numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, right through to 31, you just tick the box. And the only little thing is, if you go to the gym, say 3 times a week on Monday, Wednesday and Friday as an example, you just tick the box then and leave it, little dash on the other ones, and tick the box. If it's a long-term goal, such as I'm going to buy a house and I'm going to do this in the next 5 years, or I'm going to do this, that and the other, as long as you're working towards that, you tick the box. That's an intention. Now on top of that, I don't know if they've given them to you yet, but you will get them anyway. We get these little cards here. Why would we give you cards like this? They go in there, and you can have as many as you want. So this internalises some other things. For instance, your page 30, your mission statement. Imagine reading your page 30 every day. And ultimately when you do your mission's on here. Also, you'll have other ones in here. I had one in here about a business that I was starting, and I wanted it to make $1 million a year net, its profit. And I did this about 18 months ago, and my accountant, or accounts lady, brought in the figures for this particular company, and she said, "Roy, we've just broken $1 million in profit." I said, "Yeah, it's amazing." I was noticing it going up, and she says, "Yeah, I can't believe it." I said, "I can." I showed her the card. "How'd you do that?" I said, "I didn't do anything. I was writing the card." She shakes her head. She's wondering how I do anything, really, because she knows how I lose things and how I can't spell and how I can't use computers, and she's an accountant and she's got a university degree and a whole range of things. She just shakes her head. She's a lovely lady. Our team know her very well. She's a beautiful woman. This is powerful. I wish I could say it's worth its weight in gold. Unfortunately, it's not heavy enough. This is worth, this little card is your life. In the future and now. And the good thing about it has nothing to do with your past. In here, in your hands, you hold everything you've ever wanted. It's consciousness. And you need to be conscious when you write it. And I'll assure you, you'll get better and better and better. Harry Charalambous wrote this down. He wrote $5 million. He corrected himself today, or yesterday. He forgot to say, I would have $5 million. He said, to make a profit of $5 million. He made more than that. He made over 7 million. In fact, he made about 12. But he forgot to write down for him. My sister wrote a goal. She said, I want a house by the sea, Roy. I said, good. She wrote down the goal. She never brought the goal. I said, how's the house going? She said, oh, I think it's come along. I should have checked with her. She got the house by the sea. It was in New Zealand. She forgot to say which country. Little thing like that you miss. Don't assume anything. You want to be very specific about what you want. And look at your page there. Look at what you've drawn. Look at what your intention here is. You don't have to make it so anal or so, let's start with it and then we'll work with it. Remember that grace will always take care of the details in the end, as long as you can get it as clever as you can. To help you out, we have another page of the example of goal writing for a 1 to 31 day, 1 to 31 card. And it's got some examples of sort of goals that we've found different people use. It's probably not smart to copy them. It's just to give you a guide. We're a bit loath sometimes to give these because sometimes it really should be from you. You create it, but it's probably there as a guide. And we also have a photocopy of someone's goal card. Not that it's so brilliant, it's just an ordinary goal card to show you what one looks like. So you'll get one of those as well. And in our system, at Abundance, we actually, in our mentoring program, we actually get you to bring your goals into us and send them by fax or email, because you can also download this off our web page as well. For those technically minded ones, you can actually do your goal card on the computer. The thing that I don't like about that, it's sort of hard to take your computer with you everywhere you go, but with these new little iPhones and things, you can have it there, and so that's very clever if you're into a bit of a techno person. Personally, I like carrying these because they're with me anytime I want and I don't have to even press any buttons and I can get to it. I'm probably the old school. A little technique that I learnt, if I could share with you. Time is very valuable. In fact, time is your life, and you don't have much else other than that, and it goes quickly. I remember once I was sitting at the traffic lights and there was a big sign, and I think it was Telstra. It says, "Don't just sit there, stupid, ring someone." Interesting. I thought, Yeah, it's good, because you should either be on the phone or doing something in the cars, playing at my CDs is what I did, or reading my goal card. So I pulled my goal card out and started reading it. And the wonderful thing I discovered, I never thought about this before, but in this country, they're so supportive. When you're in the car reading your goal card at the lights, when the lights change, people let you know. And they bip their horn, and when they pass you, they point to Jesus and all sorts of things. So I always thank them very much and tell them I love them and I'm sorry and please forgive me and thank you. And so I just don't even bother, and I just read my goal card because I know they're going to let me know when the lights change, and I don't know whether I have to worry whether it's going to be quick or slow or anything. They always let me know. I tell you these things because they're true, but not only that, they're designed to get you a bit out there. And it's really about a different mindset and take charge. You're under new management to have an intention and attention to your life. Remember, intention is that internal aspect of what you want to be on purpose, and attention, alert stillness, to be alert and still and read your goal card. If you can record it, I would recommend it strongly to put on your MP3 and have it with you. And in this process, every month, write a new one out. And if you'd like to get a new one from us, just email us or send us, we'll give it to you, or you can actually download it. And everything I've ever received, I've got from this. And I've done some outrageous things I've written on cards, from $100,000 a day to houses that I send my mail to boats, my helicopter. The hardest thing was to pass the exam in the helicopter. It's a huge exam to pass, and I'm not really good with writing or anything. And I wrote a goal that I would have a helicopter. And I discovered, as you write a goal like this, it's amazing how things show up. And a guy came into my life who had a helicopter and was looking for a partner within 1 month of me writing it down. And Jeff said, oh, yeah, I got a little Robbo 22. It's just a small helicopter, two-seater. And Mr. Robinson, Los Angeles, made this helicopter as an engineer. He put a Cessnock engine in and built a helicopter around it. A four-cylinder Cessnock, a very reliable. And what his goal was to make a helicopter for 1/3 of the cost of any other helicopter, to fly as fast and for 1/3 of the cost to run. Pretty interesting goal. And I went and actually met Mr. Frank Robinson in Los Angeles. One of my other goals. You know, I went in with this guy, Jeff, and he's a lovely man, and the helicopter was relatively inexpensive, $130,000, $136,000. It was cheaper than my car at the time, actually. But to get the license was hard, but I thought I'll learn with my own helicopter because I'll get more hours up, and because it's very expensive. So I bought half interest. I actually bought 1/3 with him, actually. And we used to fly the helicopter up to my farm in Armidale, in Balala, actually, Uralla, just down from Armidale. And I got a lot of hours in, up and down. It took about two hours to get there. We did amazing things with that helicopter. We flew to the Hunter Valley to restaurants, and he would land it in the car park. Very cool to get out of a helicopter in a car park in a restaurant. I remember we used to go on Fridays to the farm, and he'd come and we'd take off, and some of you don't know, but the helicopter lane out of Sydney is the Sydney Harbour. It's dedicated to helicopters. So that's how you fly, and you go over the bridge from Bankstown, Parramatta, and then you go across the bridge, you look down, and there are all the smog of a Friday afternoon, and we're off to Armidale. And then you just sweep around, and you go up the coast, and you used to bring it down and skim along down the coast. And we fly, and he'd go down into places. I remember once he took me down into a little valley, and he says, I want to show you this little fishing spot. He put the helicopter down. You could never get to this place. A little bit of sand and a great big cliff face. Pulled up. And he said, just imagine staying here and we cook some fish. And, yeah, and the motor's running. He said, yeah, we'll go back. When we come back, we'll do this. Yep. He just lifts it up and takes it off. We're flying along and he said, you feel hungry? I said, yeah. Like a coffee? I said, yeah. Knowing we didn't have a hostess with us or anything. He said, you see that down there? I'm looking down, we're about 2,000 feet. He said, there's a really good place there. They serve very good hamburgers and excellent coffee. I said, are we allowed to park down there? He said, yeah. He said, I can tell there's going to be a red light any minute and we should be making sure emergency stop just in case. I said, really? He said, yeah, and he just dropped it down. And this is on the main highway. There's just mainly rural properties. There's this one garage thing with this hamburger place, and he drops it in, puts it down. We get out of the helicopter, climb the fence, go in and have the hamburger, have this coffee. And by this time, there's a little crowd around our helicopter. It's very cool. Get into the helicopter, and he loved banking it back. Just used to bank it back, and off we go again. Then he landed it like if this was the front door here. You know, and you go normally to, when you fly, used to fly at Armidale, when you used to fly, you have to get the bags and you have to line up as though we land right there. And waiting on the table was 2 glasses of wine my manager had put out for us. It's a spectacular life. And I'm telling you this story because they're just goals, that's all they are. Have anything you want. Anything. And the biggest goal I had in that one was to get the hours up, to get the license. And when I went for my lessons, and I'm flying the helicopter, he says, you've had lessons before? No. He says, you're so relaxed. I said, yeah, I'd already spent so many hours in the helicopter. He says, you're going to pass this very quickly. I said, I know, it's on my goal card. And it was. So, for you, helicopter might not be it. Might be a car, might be a holiday, might be a good life, might be your family, might be health, might be all of those things, because they're all there. But I'm going to ask that you get religious with this. I use that word carefully. Get into a discipline of doing this. And here's my game with you. If you can tick this box every day for a month, and last 1 month, don't have to do anything else, just tick the box on each one. I'll shout your dinner on me. Who's in the game? Who's not in the game? We've got everybody? We have everybody. Give yourselves a clap. Well done. Now, why am I betting dinner? Because I know you probably won't be able to make it. Some of you will not be able to find the card tomorrow. That's how long you'll last. Some of you won't know that Saturday or Sunday is a day. It's actually called Sunday. It is a day. And the funny thing is, elephants don't know the difference. But humans seem to know Mondays is very important because more humans die on Monday than any other day. It's particularly around 9 o'clock. The nurses put on more staff, the hospitals put on more staff on a Monday morning because of all the deaths of heart attacks. People going to work, don't want to. So, we'll see if you can last this. Now, the dinner is at my family restaurant, McDonald's. Remember, there's always conditions. So, it's not about the dinner. It's about, can you do it for a month? Who's still in the game? Let's have a real game with this. We got everyone? Okay, let's just see. And those watching this, I'd ask that you can do this and send it in to us. You've got our email address, roy@onelife.com.au. Send it. I love reading them. I don't always respond to these, but I love reading them. And some people photostat them with a little card. And the funny thing about a photostat like this, your name is on the back, and the photostat doesn't seem to pick that up. I don't know why. So we normally need a name. However, we get these things in the fax machine like this. We have no idea who owns them, but there you go. If you're willing to send it in once a month, we'll get you some feedback. And check it out and see if you can do this. For those people in our abundance program here, what I'd be asking you to do is fill in your training one, and tonight you'll fill it in detail, and I'd like you to bring your card in. I'll be show me the money. Show me the money. We'll be looking at your gold card in the morning. Okay? You've been fabulous with this. I wish you so much with this. It's a learned exercise. Goals are your life. Go with this program. It's an excellent program. Good luck with it.